Okay, good morning, everyone. We're going to start soon. Let's start the countdown. Yes, a beautiful song. Life will never be the same. I think that is what this meeting of the mind says, and this is the talker today by Graham. We're going to say life will never be the same after this 2 weeks. Okay, here we go. Let's play the song. Woo! Good morning, everyone. Welcome here this morning to Graham. Life will never be the same again. We're looking forward to sharing with you this morning and share with you some tips and tricks. So today's talk by Graham is about the critical emotional resilience you need to survive in your personal and professional life. And Graham is a professional facilitator. He's a presenter. He's and blended learning navigator. He has an MBA. How do you know someone has an MBA? They tell you. So, Graham, you need to tell us that you have an MBA this morning. This morning's talk is about resilience. It's what gives people the psychological strength to cope with stress and hardship. And I think we really need it during this time. It is a mental reservoir of strength that people are able to call on in times of need to carry them through without falling apart. Psychologists believe that resilient individuals are better able to handle adversity and rebuild their lives after a setback. And we are facing a big setback, and we need this advice this morning. For the most part of your life, you will deal with change or loss. It's inevitable. Oh, me and my English. You can't hide, you can't run. There is no escape. Resilience is futile. Some of these setbacks might be relatively minor, and others will be on a major scale. How we deal with these problems is determined by that inner ability to find, feed, forge your resilience. Let's get on to do battle. Go, Graham, you are on.
Now, listen, guys, you have to understand, I can't see who's talking because I'm watching my screen here, but thanks so much. I just want to greet you all from Port Elizabeth. It was a freezing day yesterday. It was so ice cold. I was doing all my work in my gown in my office, but yeah, we really needed the rain. So I really want to say thank you to the Lord for blessing us with the water and the rain that we so desperately need. I'd just like to acknowledge my fellow speakers as well. Thanks, guys, for all your support. Wow, man, I've really had, these last 2 weeks have been life-changing for me on so many scales. I've become a student. It's unbelievable. Thanks, Kobus, your amazing platform, you know, all the hard work you're doing, technology, the technological changes that we're going through. And not only that, yesterday, all of a sudden, the load shedding's creeping in, but yeah, don't worry about that. We can handle it. So yeah, also thanks to all my followers, my support. Yeah, 1.4 million. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but be that as it may, I'm very humbled by all the response that we've had for the Forge Your Destiny Summit. It's been phenomenal. Guys, I want to get started straight away. I don't want to waste a lot of time, so I'm going to get right into it. Let me just give you a breakdown of what you're going to experience here this morning. I'm bringing the slideshow in. I want to illustrate some concepts for you, and I promise you it won't affect the energy as best as possible. And basically, the session is about your critical emotional resilience that you're going to need for your personal and your professional life, and try and find balance in all of that over there. And I'm going to bring you a few things. My approach, I'm going to start with a bit of theory. Then I'm going to punch into a story. From there, I'm going to do a bit of philosophy. And then from there, I'm going to come out and get some academic notions going. And then we're going to finalize with some practical tips and some ideas how to change your life. I'm going to get straight into it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Great. I can't see you. I hope that you guys are there. So I'm just going to pump it right away. Off we go. So I'm going to start with a little bit of theory so you can understand where emotional resilience comes from. And the first slide I'm bringing up for you, I hope you can see it. Please just indicate, Kobus, if everybody can see that for me so I know I'm on the right track. Basically, I'm going to start off with emotional intelligence. Now, I don't want to take away from what Chantal was speaking about, and many of the other speakers have already brought to you, but it's very important that we start from here, that you understand where resilience will come from for you. In order to get to resilience, we have to unpack EQ. And the slide speaks for itself. That is the theory. The slide you see now is the theory of EQ, the 5 domains. The notion that these 5 domains, which were introduced by Daniel Goleman and others, a lot of other psychologists, and Cherry as well, these people said that basically in life we need EQ to be able to manage ourselves. Right, great. So I want to move on. Here we go. I'm not going to discuss all of these specific, if I can call them definitions. I'm just going to concentrate on number 1. Basically, you know this. Chantal shared this with us yesterday or last night as well. So EQ is the ability to be able to recognize different emotions in yourself and then the world around you. And then you've got to interpret those, and you've got to use them to enhance your quality of life. So basically, that's the definition of EQ. So we've got the 5 domains, which is known to most of you and most of the world. That's what most EQ teachers teach out there. It's what I teach all the time to many of my training sessions and all my corporate clients out there. Then you've got the definition. So let's move on from the definition quickly. From the definition of EQ, I want to move straight into resilience. So let's look at the modern definition of resilience. And that's such a phenomenal slide. It's not mine. I took it from one of my colleagues who was presenting emotional resilience, and I've asked him if I can use the slide specifically for this session. So here's the modern definition of resilience. Number one, advancing. Number two, despite. Number three, adversity. And if you look at advancing, it's all about the idea to have goals, to work towards that vision. You heard Russell speaking about that last night. You heard Dr. Price speaking about that. You've heard Chart. All these guys have been speaking about moving towards your goals and your vision. Number two, despite. Being proactive. Don't wait for adversity. This is what happened to us right now in this insane world. We waited and waited and waited and became complacent, and everything just happened to us. And all of a sudden, when we were caught off guard, COVID-19, pandemics, you name it, we were unbalanced. So we could not even become resilient towards that. We had to react towards that. Number three, adversity. Both large and small everyday challenges. And guys, if you heard my chat the other day, and if you've been listening to some of my peers on this Destiny Summit, let me tell you, if there's one thing they've been telling you, that adversity is here to stay. It will never, ever, ever get better. Yeah, for most of the people here that are from South Africa, let me just tell you, we're now in load shedding. Okay, so I can see all of us. We're all Facebook soldiers. We're all running out there making jokes about this, making jokes about that. At the end of the day, you are used to adversity, so there's nothing new about it. So just understand that advancing despite adversity means that you are able to withstand and help yourself, in other words, grow from and improve your EQ to be able to handle these kinds of adversity. Cool, so we're going to move on. Here we go. Sure. That's the A team. I just want to tell you a quick story. And it's very important that you understand this. So by the time I was 11, 13, I was orphaned. And from that time, my world became one earthquake after another. It just never stopped. First my father, and then my mother, 2 years apart, they passed away and died. So I was a very, very young age. And I was finishing school, standard 5, I think, or what is that, grade 7, I think. And I was finishing sort of standard 5 at the time, and my whole world was basically shattered. I was shipped off to boarding school, but this is not the story. But it leads into the story on how I handled resilience without even knowing it. So I was shipped off to boarding school at the time. I went to Somerset East School there. It would turn out to be probably another version of hell in my life that has plagued me ever since, and I've had to adapt and be able to become resilient to what I experienced in that time of my life. I went through absolute hell with regards to bullying, and I had to endure this for about two to 3 years. From the hostel to the schools, it was a relentless time of absolute, if I can call it to you, almost violence that I had to endure in those times. One was in the hostel, where you would then be initiated into, and then obviously into the school system that you were initiated into. And it didn't last for 2 or 3 weeks. It went on for a year, 2 years. Some people call it what most people would say nowadays, you get strong, it's initiation. I called it nothing but bullying at the time. Initiation I can handle. Bullying I could not handle, and I wasn't emotionally prepared for it because I'd experienced an emotional trauma, not once, but twice. And then I was not prepared for high school, and then being alone because obviously I had no support structure. So going through this time, it was a very, very, very tough time for me. I lost my schooling. My grades dropped. I lost my maths ability, my science ability. I lost all those phenomenal subjects that might have put me on another path. Who the hell knows? But the story doesn't end there. Although that's tragic, let me tell you, by the time I reached standard 8, I had finished then, I think it's grade 9. I think I'm not 100% sure. Standard 8, I completed school. I left school. And my guardian parents, they took me out of school and they shipped me off. And this is where the story comes in of resilience. They dumped me at the gates of one of the correctional service prison departments. Yep, you know it. I became a correctional officer, a prison warder at that time of my life. And it was back in 1984, if I'm not mistaken. Young guy, 15 years old, dropped off at the gate, said, go and work. So as I entered the prison on my second or third day kind of thing after being inducted into their program, I was surrounded by hardened criminals. murderers, thieves, you name it, gangsters, all over the place. And I was yay high, well, I think even that high. I was very young. It was something that I wasn't prepared for either. Now, how does a young child operate in an environment like that? So what I did was, it came to me, and I don't know how it came to me. I took on the persona of Murdoch. Murdoch is in the middle there. Murdoch was the nutty one inside the A team. That's why I've got the slide on here. And what I started doing, you're going to watch this. I started walking around the prison with my imaginary dog. Come, boy, come on, walk around. And I would walk around with this dog. And if I saw people, I'd like move out the way, tell them be careful of my dog. And that's how I operated with all the prisoners at the time. And they thought I was nuts. They thought I was crazy. So they'd avoid me. And somehow, if I engaged with them, they would listen to me. And I built up a rapport with them, and I could eventually manage them. So I didn't know resilience at the time, but I knew emotions. And that was a coping mechanism for me at the time. I hope you don't worry too much about the story. I'm fine right now. Great. So let's get back to some of the theory. Emotional resilience versus EQ, emotional intelligence. So I just want to tell you a little bit about research. Research suggests that intelligence precedes resilience. I have my doubts about that. Because the results are biased towards training EQ only. In other words, what they're saying, what researchers are saying, what people are saying out there. And you can see this in the market today. Most classes, and we spoke about it last night, most classes are about emotional intelligence as opposed to emotional resilience. Now research is starting to show that resilience is actually a genetic predisposition. In other words, they're saying, researchers and scientists are saying that you're actually born with resilience. Again, I disagree. Because I believe that resilience is a skill that you need to train yourself on, or need to be able to enhance or learn. It's another skill. I believe that resilience is required before you can be emotionally intelligent. I may be wrong, but that's my position. So if you get to understand what the academics are saying, I'm using two of Dr. Kotter's slides today. So what happened was we decided to look at a more modern approach with regards to emotional intelligence. And Kotter's position at the moment is as follows. He's divided these into 4 chambers. Basically, he's saying there is now the resilience factor, the insulator factor. It's that inward behavior, which helps you to be able to manage and sustain your emotional intelligence. For that to occur, you've got to be hyper-connected. There's your social compound now, the social context of it, or the social concept inside. And that's your outward behavior, how you interact with other people, by collaborating with them so that they can see who you are, they can get to understand you. From there, Kotter says that there is a reflective intelligence factor. That's that introspection, that self-awareness that we talk about in emotional resilience. So this is a modern approach and a modern breakaway. And in his research, and he's doing quite a bit of research on this with regards to the HR component. He's arguing, like I did the other day, he's arguing that adaptive mindset is the key to be able to understand and interrogate how you see yourself, what you are thinking, and how that projects outward. So that is some phenomenal research. Now, I've got a slightly different approach with his, more or less similar. I suggest, in terms of my research, I'm doing some research for my doctorate at the moment, and I'm suggesting that EQ is too cluttered. It's almost over cluttered. There's too many things for us to consider there. So I've broken it down into 3 chambers, and one of the 3 chambers that I'm looking at, or shall I say that the one thing that encompasses my chambers is emotional intelligence. Great, you got that? Awesome. And in that, I have my 3 chambers. I call that personal resilience, social resilience, and professional resilience. Now, notice my talk is about personal and professional, but you cannot escape that, the social resilience factor inside there as well. Where does my social resilience understanding come from? Well, if you look at the VUCA world we're living in now, if you look at what we're going through right now in the world, if you look at the disruptions, the setbacks, the issues that we are experiencing as human beings all over the world. It's not a South African thing. It's a universal issue. If you look at all of these kind of setbacks and disasters and disruptions that we are having, social resilience becomes part of your DNA. And that's where your emotional intelligence goes. And I'm going to break this down a little bit further for you quickly. We'll just move on. Cool, there we go. So inside my 3 chambers, I now just give you a flip side view of it. And I now say that emotion resilience, as opposed to emotion intelligence, helps you with your personal management. It encompasses your professional management, and it helps you with your social management. I break that up into three drop-down menus. Your personal resilience for me is where the awareness factor comes out, where you have that reflective nature, where you can self-motivate, your self-awareness, so to speak. And then from there, in terms of your professional resilience, this is where you are able to manage your professional life. You become very strategic, because if you're not strategic and adaptive and flexible in your professional life today, you're dead in the water. You're dead in the water. You can't manage your business or your organization the way you've been doing it all your life. You're going to need to adapt. You're going to need to be flexible, because you are dealing with different cultures, different belief systems, different personas, different races, different sexual orientations, you name it. So in those two, shall I say, drop-down menus, I bring your social resilience into it as well, when I talk about the assertive, mindful, resourceful sort of domain, where here you're looking at management of the personal and the professional life all in one. Now, why do I say that? Let me give you an example. So you're out amongst friends. You're in a restaurant. Hell, you're in a club. I don't care where you are. You could be at a social gathering, whatever the case may be. You are an extension of your personal and your professional life. Back in the day when I was working for the government, I was running the traffic authority in the Eastern Cape. I was deputy director there, and later moved on to provincial director in the Northwest. The whole concept around your persona, who you were as a senior executive manager, was that you need to conduct yourself in a professional manner. And that was an extension of your personal life. So if you transgressed in your personal life, you could be held accountable in the professional life, because you brought them into disrepute. So it's very important that we make sure that these three chambers, social resilience plays a major role in balancing your personal and your professional management. So inside that, I put in the cognitive empathy, which is available in all chambers, or is present in all chambers. Because I don't think that empathy is all by itself. You've got to have empathy, for me, in my research that I'm going to be busy doing. And please remember, it's not empirical evidence right now. It still has to be put to theory. So I could be completely wrong, but this is where I see it going. And as a result of that, I believe that your empathy falls within those chambers. Right. Cool. Now, you heard Chantal speaking about this last night. Your EQ now forms part of your overall methodology on how you deal with people. Then comes your IQ. This is your technical know-how. Your EQ is your emotional awareness, your social awareness, your self-management, your empathy, whatever the case may be, and IQ. And you heard us speaking last night that on any given day, if we apply our recruitment processes effectively in today's modern world, you will see that EQ outweighs IQ. An EQ, a resilient manager and a resilient person, is by far a better choice in your business than somebody who maintains that they've got fantastic qualifications and X amount of experience. Right. Where does this take us? Let's move on quickly. Now, it has to take you somewhere. EQ and IQ has to take you somewhere. I call that the path to resilience. Let me tell you where I'm going. In order to become resilient nowadays, you have to change your course completely. The change experts, you heard me speaking about Michael Jackson the other day, was a change expert, a world-class leader in speaking about change management to companies that you and I haven't even heard of. You have to change the course that you're on. Because if you're constantly batting your head against everything with regards to where you are in life, you're constantly in that fight mode, you are dead in the water again. We're constantly looking up to find out where the hell we can go. The idea here is to change your course. Only you can make that happen. Next one, you've got to adapt your attitude. A lot of people just struggle with this concept. Attitude is everything. If you ever watch this program, I love it. I think it's called something to do with the crab fishing. Deadliest Catch, that's the program. How can I forget that? On one of the boats, it's painted there, attitude is everything. Attitude is survival. Attitude is the difference between life and death. So it's important that we adapt our attitudes. Change your course, adapt your attitude, and next, calibrate your character. Now, a lot of people, and I heard Russell speaking about this, cut people out in your life. that affect you. Take them out of your life. Take out that negativity. You'll find that I think that most people that say that are struggling with issues in their family. I am. I have that exact problem. It's not synonymous just to me. Millions of people are going through it. And if you calibrate your character, you'll find that you can get on with people in a different way. People believe that you can't change your character. I think that's a lot of rubbish. I think you need to alter your character effectively to be able to manage your relationships. And once you've done this, once you practice this, you begin to experience what Dr. Bill Price said the other night, work-life balance. Now, it doesn't stop there. If you listen to him, it doesn't stop there. Work-life balance is great. Remember, path to resilience. You're only now in travel mode. Your path to resilience. To achieve work-life balance, once you have done this, once you practice, you open up a different concept altogether. You lose, or shall I say, you store IQ and EQ, but in the middle you find what I call SQ. This is not my slide again, guys. So that's spiritual intelligence. Once you are using your entire brain, you'll be able to manage your intellectual quotient. You'll be able to understand and manage your emotional quotient. These two go together. You can't just have emotional intelligence and not have an IQ to be able to, shall I say, complement your EQ, and likewise vice versa. But in the middle of those two, SQ exists. And from there, when you have practiced that and you're starting to master that, welcome. You have arrived. And once you've arrived, you find that if you change your EQ to be able to adapt your IQ, you will basically be in a position where you can calibrate your SQ. Once you've mastered this, guys, once you've mastered this, you begin to experience harmony. That's what Dr. Bill was also speaking about the other night. Harmony is where you want to be. The brain doesn't know balance. It wants to experience harmony. Your life is not, you're not concerned. If you're fighting balance all the time, I can say to you, hey man, be balanced. You know, you've got to find the work-life balance. Oh, I'm working too hard, Graham. I've got to spend 18 hours a day in the office. Oh, my family is giving me problems. Oh, I'm going through relationship issues. I'm retrenched. I'm going through all these kinds of things in my life. You're not in harmony. You're not in sync. Because you haven't been able to marry those two together to find that balance. Work-life balance takes work. It's not the ultimate destination. You have to have harmony between all of those factors to be able to experience where you're going. All right, I hope you're getting this. I hope you're getting this, guys. I'm going to give you some critical resilience tips quickly. Here we go. Are you ready? I'm going to pump them off. Here we go. Number one. One of the greatest things that I teach my EQ students right now on any given day, whenever I'm in their presence, is not to raise your voice, but to raise your argument. If you are raising your voice, you lower yourself to that level at a heightened emotional level. And lowering yourself to that level, you become part of the problem. Now, I know this is easier said than done, but it's doable. Raise your voice. Don't raise your voice. Raise your argument. That's where I want you to be. Next one. Let's go. Not every iceberg will sink you. This is all to do with resilience. Contrary to popular belief, not every iceberg is dangerous. Yes, you must steer clear of them. Yes, you've got to be careful, but you've got to practice risk management. You've got to practice risk management in your life. You heard Russell speaking about this last night. We need to get this message. Not every iceberg will sink you. Some you can just nudge out of the way. They're very beautiful. They can be deadly, but at the same time, practice risk management. Not every iceberg will sink you. Not every setback is going to kill you. Criticism is not a death sentence. I want to stop there for a second and tell you a quick story about what happened to me around 2010. We're moving now to 2010. I was a manager for the Northwest Province, and we were running the World Cup. You remember the World Cup? Yep, came to South Africa at that time. And I just reached my tether. I was having health issues. I was very stressed. It had been 4 years in the making of everyday meetings, really getting to the level of where we needed to put on a good show. And we did. And at one stage on the night, the first game that was played, which was in the Northwest Royal Bafokeng Stadium, I found myself going absolutely ballistic with my staff. I think I dropped it, and many of them are on here today, so they can attest to that. And what happened was they called me to a meeting, and I sat in front of 400 staff members in a big hall, one of the spas out in Rustenburg, and they started hammering me. Why are you shouting at us? Why are you swearing at us? This is not how you are. Why are you this kind of a person? Have you lost it? We don't want to work for somebody like this. Are you a racist? Are you all these kinds of things? I just sat there and I listened to the criticism. It's not a death sentence. And I stood up there and I said, you know what, people, you're exactly right. I'm very sorry for the way I've reacted. I've lost it. I'm human. Please apologize. I acknowledge the good work that you've been doing. That criticism brought us the second prize for the most best-run security outfit for the entire South Africa's World Cup presentation. And, wow, how proud can I not be? The idea here is to believe that criticism is not a death sentence. Being defensive is a war cry. Being defensive is a war cry. If you're defensive on everything in your life, you are shouting for war and battles to be part of your DNA, your life cycle. Being defensive is a war cry for me. It's better to say, okay, cool, man, I hear your thoughts. I understand what you're saying. Thank you for your advice. I'll take it on, good advice for that matter, and I'll consider it. Don't let your defensiveness become a war cry, because people see that when you defend, you're automatically guilty. It's not always the case, but it does happen. I said this the other night in my chat. If you heard me, I said this the other night in your chat. Crisis is nothing but fitness training. I was conditioned to believe as a manager that crisis was a bad thing. Man, how stupid I was. How stupid my teachers were. Crisis is a good thing if you consider what's going on around us in the world today. The crisis that you're in right now, the problems you have in your relationships, the problems that you're perhaps having with your loved ones, with your children, the issues you might have with your boss, the issues that you might have with your staff. All these things that are going on, the problems that you're having with your finances, your spirituality, your professional life, whatever the case may be, all these struggles that you're going through, these are crises. They are nothing but fitness training exercises. How you respond to them is extremely important. And I heard this with a youngster talking to a sports team. The only true disability in your life is your attitude. I've said to you the other night, please go out and freak. Have freak out moments. Have them. Go there. Walk around. Don't move in. Don't get your mail there. If you get your mail there, it's a death sentence. That's the true death sentence. Your attitude is your only disability. You cannot work all the time. Recovery is essential to success. I've heard these success gurus, they come across my social media pathways. You're going to work, you're going to put in the effort. Great, fantastic, awesome, nice. But you need to rest. Some days I just stay in bed and I relax. Some days I just go for a walk and park off. Some days I don't work at all. It doesn't change the results that I have. I'm not saying become lazy. I'm saying that recovery is essential to success. And these are my things, guys. I didn't Google this stuff. This is stuff that comes from my everyday life experiences and people around me and some of the great minds that I associate myself with. Remember, common sense is user-friendly. That's why it's common. Most of us make such stupid mistakes. That's why we lose our resilience. Most of us make such stupid choices. I mean, what in the hell are you doing when you know that what you are doing is not going to yield the results that you need or you want or you require? Common sense. If you know you mustn't speak to your spouse, your husband, your wife, your partner, whatever the case it may be, that way, then why the hell do you do that? Because you're just creating an atmosphere where you are going to have problems. Why are you dealing with your staff that way? When you know what their reaction is, why do you make the kind of decisions in your life that you know will be negative and disadvantage to you? Why? Common sense is user-friendly. That's why it's so common. Use your common sense. One of the greatest, shall I say, wisdom or free wisdom things that we have in our brain, in our mind, in our body, our persona, mind, body, and soul for that matter, is the ability to be able to be or to use our common sense. When it's wrong, and you know it's wrong, don't do it. When you know it's not the right thing, your gut feel, then don't do it. This is very key to your resilience. It'll make you feel better. I like this one. Stand out rather than blend in. Stand out rather than blend in. If you want to be resilient, if you want to be in a position where, let's put it this way, if you are in a situation where you want to make a difference, you can't go with the norm. You can't sit at the same table. You have to make decisions. You have to take risks. You have to put yourself out there. If you're scared of that, boof, you're not resilient. If you fear that, well, then something else is taking over your mind, your body, and your soul. The whole issue here, the whole idea here is to be able to stand out. You've got to make risky decisions. Doesn't matter if you fail. I'll get to that a bit later. Rather than blend in, make a difference. That's where I want you to be for emotional resilience. And I think my last one for this one is, when you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to it. The way we respond currently, I mean, the other day I was listening to the speech of the president. Right after that, man, I was frustrated. Absolutely frustrated. I want to tell you now, if I could use the kind of language, descriptive language over here, I would probably do that. So I responded in a freak out moment. But the problem is, it's not that I'm trying to respond to something that really I can change. I'm looking for that dopamine effect. How many people will buy into my nonsense? I quickly go and delete that stuff. We've got to be very careful the way we respond to things, because when we respond to things, let's say, against the laws of attraction, against the laws of nature for that matter, there's nothing you can do about that. We can't do anything about the position that we're in, unless you're a lawmaker. So rather challenge yourself to control the way you respond to things. Now, this brings me to a little bit of philosophy and a little bit of theory tied into one. It's one slide. By having resilience in our lives, by sustaining our resilience, we are able to take our mindsets from an engineering, which is the things that we know, that we do, that we taught, we get a university for, whatever the case may be. You've been conditioned to apply. It's done this way, to a more reimagineering mindset, where we use our creativity and our innovation and our strategy all in one. It's time that we discard the maps and reach for a compass, because we've lost our way. Our leadership has lost their way. Managers have lost their way. Relationships have lost their way. Businesses are losing their way all the time. And a lot of that has got to do with the fact that we don't know how to find that harmony between creativity, strategy, and innovation, the collaboration with other people. And we're going to have to apply this. No wonder that emotional intelligence is one of the key skills going from 2020. It's going to even be more. If it's number 6 on the list now, it's going to be number 1 by the next, shall I say, survey. And the reason for that is because if you are not EQEI resilient for that matter, if you're not there, you won't adapt in the current 4th industrial revolution, which is the age of technology, where robots are taking things over. So we've got to get our minds right here. Cool. So here we are now. I spoke about it the other night. A growth mindset. Therefore, if you take those tips that I've given you, a growth mindset is built in an infinite mindset. Listen carefully. A growth mindset, this again is from me. If you want to continue to grow, you must have an infinite mindset. If you listen to Simon Sinek, he speaks about this all the time. And people with a growth mindset put in the effort. The amount of effort, I've always told people, the amount of effort you put in today will yield the results tomorrow. If you put in 10%, that is what you will reap. If you put in 20 and so forth, I can go on. Love learning. In this time, I've done nothing but learn. I was telling Kobus earlier this morning. I've done nothing but enhance my skills. I've done nothing but grasp new ideas, new ways of doing things. You've got to love learning. You've got to learn from feedback, no matter the feedback. You can never be resilient with anything, anybody, anywhere, on any given Sunday of your life if you cannot handle feedback. And likewise, you've got to give constructive feedback. Know that progress takes time. It takes time. It's not like just overnight. Things take time. You heard Russell speaking last night about the lemon seed or the orange seed at the time. What you will sow, you will reap. Think of mistakes as opportunities for us. I know you've heard this, so I don't want to dwell too much on it. Mistakes are opportunities, and you've got to be motivated by challenges. We've got so many historical teachers from eons ago that have been saying motivation. Get motivation from your challenges. We've got hundreds of teachers that have gone bygone, yet we don't grasp that. We don't grasp that. The story goes, I was working for the city police in East London at a stage in my life, around about 2006. I was called to a scene. And I had to walk along the beach. It was about a 2-kilometer hike. Full blues, early Sunday morning. I wasn't even on duty. I was called out to a scene. And I walked the beach. It's down in East London at one of the rivers, Nahoon River, if I'm not mistaken. Beautiful place. Beautiful. And there was a suicide. And I walked this 2 kilometers. And on my way there, I was thinking to myself, what am I going to find? What will I see? How will I handle this? Imagine the paperwork. Hell, not another Sunday, wasting my time, so to speak. I got there, I saw this 357 Magnum, a young man lying next to it, sprawled out on the beach, bullet hole through the head. Tidied up the scene, got the medics and the pathologists out there and whatnot all, police, etc. And I walked back those 2 kilometers. That was one of the longest 2 kilometers I've ever walked in my life. And I was thinking to myself, how does one person walk this distance, and goes through their mind to come and sit here and go, boof? What drives people to do that? What challenges could they not overcome? What mistakes did they make in their life? What progress was taking too long? What was their situation? What was his situation? Wouldn't be the first one that I've attended, wouldn't be the last one that I attended in my career there. And every time I ask that question, you walk 2-3 kilometers and you can't make a change, you must know you're right at the bottom of life. The harder you try, know this, that success will come around. It's got to happen. I want to tell you now, on every given day, I fail at least 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 things, guys. It happens on a daily basis. Telling Kobus again that this morning. I've got to constantly reinvent, rejuvenate, reimagineer for success to come. I want to tell you it happened. It happens. It's got to happen. You cannot consistently experience failure in your life. If you have, you're not motivated by challenges. You don't see the mistakes as opportunities. I'm nearly there. And I want to tell you this. I know that everybody says that you must be willing to fail. I call failure a metric. There's the theory in me coming out. It's nothing but a measurement for me. I measure the amount of failure to make sure that with the reasoning that I know I'm going to fail again, so I do less of that so that I don't fail so epically. But it's a metric. It's only a measuring tool. It's not the destination. You've got to get that out of your mindset. Key. This is my stuff, guys. Key. Help is always wanted. If you need something to be resilient, to be emotionally resilient, if you need something, you've got to ask for help. You've got to ask for help. My wife and I sold a treadmill the other day. It's one of the things that we've got to do, Charmaine and I, we've got to do to survive, because income, well, it's very difficult. So we are minimalizing our life. That's the excuse we tell ourselves. But it's also true. In order to stay alive, we sold a treadmill. So I sat there and I posted the treadmill. Poof. Thinking, well, it's going to happen on Monday. People will maybe contact me. I had about 40 or 50 calls for that treadmill, guys. 40 or 50 calls. And the young man said to me, man, Graham, I want it now. I said, hey, Buck, I've got to like, take this thing apart. And I'm not technically minded, guys. I battle with a spanner. And from there, as I was now, buying into the notion that this guy wants this machine, before I lose it, I said to him, okay, I'm going to take it apart in 3 or 4 minutes, 5, 10 minutes, half an hour at the most. Come around at about 11 o'clock. Boom, he was there 11 o'clock. By that time, the whole treadmill was contorted. It was contorted all over the place. And some man and I going into that, and the cats are running and the rabbits are gone, and my whole Sunday that I needed to do work on was infested. So this guy arrived, and I said to him, "Hey, Buck, look, I know you want this, but can you come help me?" We struggled another 2 hours to put it apart. When at the end, when we put our minds together, took 2 bolts to loosen the top section, which is the electrical kind of display unit. We folded that, boom, out you go. Bob's your uncle. What an idiot I felt like. I had to give him discount. But help is always wanted. That is the notion of resilience. And finally, you've got to be inspired by everything. You've got to be inspired by everything. I see storm clouds. I'm inspired. My dams are going to be full. My water tanks are going to be full. Most people say, storm clouds, I'm going to close the shutters. Nuh-uh. I leave it open. It's the mindset that you've got to change. I want to leave you with this thought as I stop sharing my screen. Another phenomenal quote from Dr. Charles Cotter. It's his slide. And this is the very prolific philosophy of and the theory of emotional resilience. And he says, and you can read it for yourself as well, in the face of adversity, resilience is the gateway to an iron world inner strength that unlocks a treasure trove of personal and professional rewards. And also the right, I love this, the rite of passage from submission to recognition, from despair to repair, from trauma. You heard Letitia speaking about trauma the other day. Wow, I don't have problems. From trauma to triumph. Dr. Charles Cotter. You know, guys, at the end of the day, it's all about imparting skills. So as I end off this, I want to just give you something over here, just to help you with this. Don't worry about the numbers. So all this training, all this emotional resilience, all this management, all this leadership, I've encompassed into what I call a definitive series. It's an online program. I'm going to do it over 3 days. It's my flagship program. My flagship program. I've taken all my training programs. I've encompassed them all into one. And I'm offering you the definitive series. If you want to know more about how we can handle things today and how we solve problems, how we motivate staff, how we delegate, how to manage your life professionally and personally. Well, I tell you this much. If you can't find balance and harmony in your personal life, you won't find it in your professional life. And this program is going to help you with that as well if you want it. I normally sell this about $3,999. About 4,000 Rand. It's a 5-day program, 3 online, 2 work sessions that you've got to go away with, 2 work sessions where you've got to do some projects, etc. I'm giving this away right now until the end of, listen to this, until the end of July at $1,999. I've got 12 seats of people that can come onto the program, but don't worry, it'll spill over. You won't lose. Okay, there's no race to this. If you are part of the Forge Your Destiny Summit and you registered for this program and your email is with Kobus and his team, then he will simply send me those emails and I can enroll you accordingly. So that is what I've got to offer you today, over and above the others that you'll find on the Hay Summit website, the Forge Your Destiny Summit. I want to leave you with this thought quickly. Sit with winners. The conversation is completely different. There you go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed that. I just want to stop sharing and bring you back. Awesome. Close that down. And there I am, Kobus. Can you see it? Okay, I'm only seeing some of the messages now. Remember to sit with the winners. The conversation is completely different. If you want to understand emotional resilience, you need to find that harmony and that balance in your life. This is key to our success, guys. It's key to where we're going in our lives. And nowadays, if I can also say this to you, it is not going to get easier. Get that out of your mind. It's not going to get easier. Life will throw challenges you, setbacks, disruptions, whatever. That's where you're going to be. Time to harness that resilience and practice it. Thank you, guys. Kobus, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I don't want to know if you want to go through the questions. If you want to, let's see if there's anyone that has questions.
Cool. Oh, thanks, Sonia. My Iron Man shirt's in the wash. I thought I'd wear Top Gun today. Yeah, I'm a fan. I can't wait for this movie to come out. I got to tell you guys. Thanks, Rusty. Yeah, I appreciate it. Some nuggets there, brother. With pleasure. The slideshow is available free. Okay, it's not intellectual property. You can have it. You can use it in your training sessions. It's part of my gift to you. The message that we got to get out there. Please use it. You can interpret and perceive it in a different way. I can't see all of them. Can I go from the top, Quibus? Thanks, Berenice. Sonia again. Hello, Graham. Greetings from Frankfurt, Germany. Oh, Leon, one of the greatest trainers in the world, Quibus. Leon Stein. Yeah, he's joined us today. Yeah, he's a phenomenal trainer. You can check out his website, his web page as well. He's out there, but he now resides in Germany doing fantastic work there. We've lost a true man in the training and facilitation sector. Yeah, Willie, hi Willie, Kubus. Everybody's greeting Kubus. Hey, what's it? Hey, Kubus. Hi, says, I love the A team. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, Murdoch was very smart. I used Murdoch's tactics. It helped me. It was a coping mechanism. I don't see any other. Great presentation. Keep firing up. Thanks, Aubrey. Aubrey is one of the leading training providers in South Africa. Ransani Mario. Yeah, Ransani Mario. Thanks, Aubrey. He does training all over the country. Fantastic. Thanks, Sonia. Great presentation. Rusty loved it. Okay, everybody I think is stunned. Wow, powerful message. Thank you, Graham. I don't know if there's any other message you can go through them. So I want to bring up a call to action, please, guys, if you don't mind. Can I do that quickly, Quibus?
Yeah, you can quickly go through that.
Guys, I just want to bring up, if I can do that quickly, I'm just going to copy my YouTube link, okay? It doesn't cost you a cent. And the reason why I'm asking this to be a call to action is because I'm looking for subscribers. I present a series called Ask the Manager. I run weekly sessions live stream. 5 or 10 minutes, we discuss management issues, all sorts of issues around management. I'm going to quickly put that on. And if you want to, please go and subscribe right there. Call to action. Boom. Can I put it in? What can I do? Where do I put it, Quibus?
The chat box.
Okay. Can I do it in the chat box? Okay, cool. That's better for me. Let me get that out of here. Go back. I'm going to put it in there. Cancel. There it is. I'm going to put it in and in it goes. Awesome. And I'm going to enter quickly. There's my YouTube channel, guys. Please subscribe to it. If you want to catch me live sessions, I post all my videos. I post these sessions there. I've got a growing subscribership. You've got to get to an eventual amount of subscribers. I'd really like to see you there. That is completely free. There's no cost. There's no money. You can just tune in, get a recording. Graham, even if you email me, you miss it, I'll send you a recording. About what we do. And that introduces my program, my management program, which I'm giving away at 1,999 Rand, as opposed to 3,999. And I hope that makes sense. Awesome. Thanks. We'll subscribe. Appreciate it, Sonia. Awesome. Life will never
be the same.
Thanks, Quibus.
Awesome. If there is no last questions, I just want to say thank you for Graham, for taking his time and effort this morning and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom for all of us. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again, my friend. Everyone, wherever you are, let's give him a big high five and a round of applause. Okay, great stuff.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.